So if you're a creative type, you may have experienced a time when you look at some of the stories that have come before yours and think, oh, why bother? There's no way I'm going to top what's already out there. I'm never going to think up anything as good as J.K. Rowling or James Cameron did. Well, here's the good news. They didn't think of something that good either. At least, not at first. The books and movies we call masterpieces today actually started out kind of terrible. Their first drafts were clunky, confusing, even laughable. And that's the beauty of the rough draft. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's just the first step to bringing the thing into existence. Then you can shape it into something great. Let's look at a few iconic stories and the drafts you'll never see that almost killed them before they were rewritten into classics. So we all know Back to the Future as a story of a teenager, a DeLorean, and the world's most stressed out scientist. But in the first draft, the time machine wasn't a car, it was a refrigerator. Yes, Marty McFly was originally meant to climb into a lead-lined refrigerator that ran on plutonium. And instead of the lightning strike at the clock tower, the finale involved Marty driving that fridge into a nuclear test site. And the explosion was meant to send him back to 1985. A couple problems with this. One, Steven Spielberg worried kids might see the movie and start climbing into refrigerators. And two, shooting a nuclear blast wasn't exactly in the budget. The rewrite gave us the DeLorean, which wasn't just more practical, it was cooler, and simultaneously answered the question, what's cooler than a refrigerator? A DeLorean. Never mind. Fun fact. The nuclear fridge idea didn't die completely. Decades later, George Lucas brought it back for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and audiences hated it. So yes, sometimes cuts are for the best. James Cameron wrote The Terminator while he was flat broke, sick, and in a tiny apartment. In the first draft, way too ambitious. Cameron wanted not one, but two Terminators. One was the metal skeleton we know, and the other was a liquid metal shapeshifter. The problem? This was the early 80s. CGI wasn't anywhere near ready for liquid morphing villains. Cameron had to scrap it. Instead, he focused on one machine. Enter Arnold Schwarzenegger. And here's the funny part. The Terminator wasn't originally supposed to look like Arnold. Early drafts imagined him as an everyman assassin who could blend into a crowd. The horror was supposed to come from the idea that anyone could secretly be a machine. But when Arnold walked into the audition, Cameron realized that this guy was the movie. Subtlety went out the window, and instead of hiding in plain sight, the Terminator became a nightmare you couldn't ignore. By scaling down his draft, fewer villains, simpler effects, Cameron made the story leaner and scarier. And the liquid metal concept? He didn't throw it away, he just saved it for Terminator 2 when the technology finally caught up. Let's look at Toy Story, Pixar's first feature, the movie that changed animation forever. Surely that was destined to be a masterpiece from the start, right? Wrong. The earliest drafts of Toy Story were a disaster. Woody wasn't the loyal cowboy we know today. He was a sarcastic bully. He insulted the other toys, he manipulated them, and in one version, he actually tosses Buzz out of the window on purpose. Disney executives watched this version, now known as the Black Friday reel, and hated it. They told Pixar to go back and start over. So, Pixar rewrote the whole thing. Woody became flawed but sympathetic. Buzz was reimagined as optimistic and charming. Their rivalry turned from nasty to playful, and their eventual friendship gave the film its heart. That rewrite saved Pixar's first feature and maybe the entire studio. Without it, there's no Toy Story 2, no Finding Nemo, no Inside Out, all because they were willing to admit that the first draft didn't work. Fun fact number 2, in one early version, Barbie was supposed to show up in the finale to rescue Woody and Buzz from the moving van. Mattel refused, though, thinking that the movie would flop. But after it became a hit, they changed their minds, which is why Barbie shows up in Toy Story 2. So what does this mean for writers? It means the stories we love, the stories that were successes, didn't come from out of nowhere. They weren't written in a lightning bolt of genius. They started as messy, flawed, and sometimes ridiculous drafts. In fact, one of the most famous stories out there, Harry Potter, had to be worked, reworked, and worked again. J.K. Rowling might have gotten the idea for Potter in one incredible moment of inspiration, but the details, the minutiae of actually writing the story had to be shaped and molded repeatedly before it became the classic it is today. Rowling once shared that she went through 15 different first chapters for the first Harry Potter book, but each one revealed too much of the story, so they were all discarded. She joked that if you compiled those discarded chapters, almost the whole plot is explained. And that's what a first draft is supposed to be. It's a construction zone. It gives you something to tear down, rebuild, and shape into the thing you really want to say. If Robert Zemeckis had stuck to the nuclear fridge, Back to the Future would have been a forgotten curiosity. If James Cameron had insisted on his liquid metal villain, the Terminator might never have been made at all. And if Pixar had left Woody as a jerk, Toy Story would have never gotten off the ground. So, the next time you look at your own writing and think, this sucks, remember, masterpieces aren't born. They are rewritten. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.